state just released an audit of Lexington's lowest performing schools. Those schools are Harrison Elementary and William Wells Brown. The Herald Leader reports the audit found the use of data to make decisions is unclear and informal. At least 20% of third graders in both schools are receiving proficient or distinguished test scores. That's compared to the statewide average of 45%. The audit also found technology is not being used enough in the classroom. It recommends teachers go through training and the school set clear expectations.